for their contribution in terms of broadening what we hope was a general interest to you, but also your response to that.
After years of keeping the secrets and thoughts of the late Queen Elizabeth to herself in an attempt to keep the monarchy peaceful, the well-loved and renowned royal, Princess Anne, has finally revealed something that left not just the royals, but the entire country speechless. The most powerful secret inside Buckingham Palace wasn't locked in a vault, but tucked inside a quiet envelope, handwritten by the Queen herself. A final wish that was never meant for the public eye, naming someone no one expected, Catherine, Princess of Wales. What is this final wish that holds the key to the monarchy? And why did it mention the Princess of Wales? Kate Middleton. Join us as we dive into this story. Princess Anne's decision. It all started when Princess Anne stayed beside her mother, Queen Elizabeth, in the last few hours of her life. Princess Anne, whose status held more weight than just Queen Elizabeth II's only daughter, but also the monarchy's supportive backbone. Born on August 15, 1950 at Clarence House, she entered the world as Princess Anne of Edinburgh, third in line to the throne, after her uncle King George II's passing made her mother queen in 1952. Anne was raised amidst royal duties, and even in her early days, she displayed the discipline and dignity that would later define her adult life. From her teenage years at Benenden School in Kent, she showed exceptional dedication, especially to horses. Just like her mother, Princess Anne has a special love for horses. Her interest was so strong that, in 1971, Anne won gold at the European three-day event in Burghley, and 4 years later became the first royal to compete at the Olympics in Montreal aboard the Queen's horse, Goodwill, all to her mother's pride. The proud Queen presented Anne with the Burghley Trophy and later bestowed the prestigious title of Princess Royal in 1987, a title reserved for a sovereign's eldest daughter. Anne's relationship with Elizabeth was rooted in mutual respect and shared passions. Both were no-nonsense, outdoorsy women who believed in service over spectacle. Anne once told ITV that her mother led by example and taught her that leadership was not about making speeches, but about listening and learning. She credited the Queen for instilling in her the core values of consistency, humility, and a strong sense of duty, values that would guide Anne through decades of public service and make her one of the most well-loved royals. Princess Anne has always been popular for her pragmatic yet low-key presence. She was never known for chasing power or for broadcasting herself to the media. Anne did her job quietly, supporting the monarchy without claiming any unnecessary publicity for herself. The whole country knew and loved the only female child of the Queen for her loyalty and also for her love for the late Princess Diana. This is the woman Elizabeth II trusted with her final and most controversial secret. Anne, more than any other royal, understood the true essence of service and sacrifice. She appreciated that the crown is not just worn, it is carried on the backs of those willing to uphold its meaning. It was this depth of character, forged under her mother's example, that led Anne to accept the burden of delivering the Queen's letter, one that would challenge years of tradition and potentially change the future of the monarchy. Although Princess Anne was skeptical, she did not plan to break her promise to her mother. The Queen had made her choice, and Anne had been entrusted to share it when the monarchy needed it most. Now, after watching the public with its negative opinions of the new king and seeing her brother Charles struggle beneath the weight of the expectation, Anne felt the restlessness of the public and could see they were hungry for something more. That was when she knew the time had come. The crown could not afford silence, and Queen Elizabeth's final wish could no longer be hidden. With the resolve she was known for, Princess Anne made her decision. She would call for a private meeting with the two men most affected by the words she was about to reveal, King Charles and Prince William. What she would share next would forever change the path of the monarchy. A foggy night and the shocking content of the letter. It was a night like any other in London. The clouds were heavy, and there was a thick fog in the air. A hush settled over the city like a blanket. But inside Buckingham Palace, something was about to shift forever. Princess Anne stood alone in her private quarters, holding a letter she had read 100 times but still couldn't quite believe it had been given to her by her mother, Queen Elizabeth II, just weeks before her death. The Queen had always been a stoic woman. All her decisions were known to be measured, deliberate, and deeply protective of the monarchy. So when she asked Anne to safeguard her final wish, it wasn't done in passing. Anne had known she would have to act on it eventually, but the question had always been when. The monarchy had carried on with business as usual after the death of the Queen, yet cracks were beginning to show beneath the polished surface. With Charles now king and William stepping further into the spotlight, public faith in the monarchy was waning. It was no secret that the public did not have much love for Charles because of his messy divorce with the late Princess Diana and his partner Camilla. The public opinions were unfavorable, and something had to give. Anne, ever the loyal daughter and steady hand of the family, knew the moment had arrived when the people started to speak against Charles. It was time to share the Queen's final words. Most people thought they knew how the future of the British monarchy would unfold. First King Charles, then Prince William. Everything orderly and traditional as was expected. That was how it was supposed to be, but deep inside Buckingham Palace, late one foggy London night, something happened that would change everything. And almost no one outside the palace walls knew. Princess Anne had been carrying something heavy, something she could not hold in any longer. It was a secret, one she had never asked for but couldn't ignore. A secret from her mother Queen Elizabeth II, written down carefully before she passed away. The Queen's final wish was not shared with courtiers, nor was it announced to the public. Rather, she had told her only daughter, with instructions to reveal it when the time was right. Strangely, the Queen's message did not mention Charles. It didn't even mention William, the second heir. Instead, it named someone else, someone unexpected, someone the Queen believed could save the future of the crown. Shockingly enough, that person was Catherine, the Princess of Wales. As fog wrapped around the iron gates and the night wore on, inside, behind thick walls and long hallways, Anne made her choice and decided that was the perfect time to speak up. She called for King Charles and Prince William to meet her. There were no staff, no advisors, just the three of them. The room they met in was old and had a somber look. Heavy curtains hung over dark wood, with portraits of past kings and queens watching from the walls. Instead of making an elaborate speech, Anne decided to take a more direct approach. She simply unfolded a letter, worn from where she had held it over and over, and placed it on the table before her confused brother. Charles picked it up first, his hands shaking slightly. William leaned forward, frowning as he read each word twice. The quiet was full of apprehension. One spoke the clock on the mantel ticked loudly in the silence. Outside, the city slept unaware, yet the late Queen's letter was clear. She saw Catherine not just as a future queen consort, but as the future of the monarchy itself. The deceased queen believed the survival of the crown rested, not with a king, but with a woman who the people already loved, someone who had earned their trust, not just inherited it. What was Charlie's reaction to this shocking revelation? Stay with us to find out. At first, Charles pushed back against the unexpected information revealed by his older sister. His voice broke the silence as he protested against the letter, saying that it was untraditional and was not how things worked. His face looked tired and older somehow. William said nothing. He just stared at the letter, his hands clenching and unclenching in his lap, too shocked to utter a word. Anne didn't argue she wasn't there to fight. Rather, she was there because the Queen had trusted her to be the one to tell them. What Anne did not say, however, was that deep down, she believed in the same thing her late mother did. Catherine Middleton was different from the other royal princesses. She didn't just fit seamlessly into the old system. Her charisma made people believe in it again. William finally spoke, yet his voice was low as he asked, "Why didn't she tell us before?" Anne gave a small, sad smile and revealed that maybe the deceased queen didn't think they were ready to hear it. They sat there for a long time, the three of them breathing the same heavy air, each knowing that whatever they decided next would change everything for them. The letter has not only changed the history of the monarchy, but threatened to uproot the very essence of it. Meanwhile, across the palace, Catherine sat in a different part of the palace that night. unaware of the shocking content of the conversation between her husband and his family. She had just tucked George, Charlotte, and Louis into bed. She sat by a window with a cup of tea cooling beside her, looking out at the fog. Catherine felt restless, but didn't know why. She didn't know that upstairs, the course of her life and the future of the monarchy was being rewritten. She had never chased power. She had only ever tried to do the job quietly, properly. She smiled when she needed to smile, listened when it was her turn to listen, and protected her children fiercely. The Queen had seen that and believed that was exactly what the future needed. So back in the meeting room, the letter lay between them like a live thing. Anne finally stood up, smoothing her skirt. She didn't wait for Charles or William to agree. She knew what her mother would have wanted. The truth told, the risk taken. "Whatever we decide," she said softly. "The world is changing. We can either change with it or be left behind." No one answered, but in the silence a decision started to take root. Quietly, stubbornly, like the first crack of light at dawn. The monarchy the world thought it knew was already shifting. Not with a grand speech, not with fanfare, but with a single night. A whispered truth and a woman who didn't even know she was about to be called into history. What happened next will shock you. The difference the Queen had seen. In Catherine Middleton, Prince William had grown up under the crushing expectations of monarchy. From the moment he could walk, he had been groomed for the throne. But something in that letter rattled him more deeply than he expected. His whole life had been about service, legacy, and duty. But now, he was being asked to reconsider all of it, not by the press, but by his own grandmother. On paper, he was supposed to be the future, young, relatable royal. But every move he made was watched with scrutiny. Every mistake was magnified by the people. Even his marriage to Catherine, a shining light for the family, was a double-edged sword. The more people loved her quiet confidence and genuine smiles, the harder it was for William to shine on his own. Moreover, there was Harry firing accusations from across the Atlantic and deepening wounds that hadn't even begun to heal. Although he never spoke up against his father, William knew the monarchy was standing on shaky ground. He could feel it every single day, especially since the Queen's death had given rise to something shocking. A few moments after the Queen's death, the nation came together in grief, but that unity didn't last. The people began to lose faith in the royal family. Soon, polls showed more young people questioning whether the monarchy even mattered anymore. In places like Australia and the Caribbean, the unexpected calls to break ties with the crown grew louder. The family could feel it. The tide was turning, and the old loyalty the crown enjoyed was slipping away. They could no longer survive on tradition alone. They needed to prove their worth all over again, and deep down, they knew no press conference and no public relations campaign could save them. The people needed a change. They needed someone real, someone they could believe in and relate to, someone like Catherine. Somehow Queen Elizabeth had seen it coming long before the world noticed the cracks. She had made her choice quietly without fanfare, but William could not understand why. Not only was he being rejected by his mother, his wife was the chosen one. But it was not really surprising. Catherine had never asked for the crown. She had never chased headlines or courted public sympathy. She simply showed up for her duties as a royal, again and again, with calm poise and quiet resilience. While William carried the weight of centuries on his back, Catherine carried her obligations differently. She had something he did not, the ability to connect to the common people, to comfort, to inspire them. Maybe because Catherine was not born into royalty, giving her the necessary experience she needed to be down to earth. The Queen had seen it, and now William was being forced to see it too. To the outside world, the world of the royals remained the same, full of expensive dinners, charities, and polished photos. But deep down, the peace was starting to slip. The monarchy's perfect image was weaker than anyone expected. It was slowly losing the support of the people. Will it crush under the pressure? Or will it be rebuilt by the most unexpected person? A woman who could wear the crown better than any of the men who were in line to inherit it. Although the information was never released, the reality of Catherine's support from the public was nothing short of alarming for Charles and William, who were both against her being told the truth. As if on cue, people continued to affirm what the late Queen had said. The media was full of people calling for the throne to be handed over to the gentle princess. Many journalists took their time to dig into her ADT, eager to know more about the reserved woman who made everyone around her comfortable with her light. What they found was not only surprising, but incredibly heartwarming. A look into Catherine's life. Catherine, also known as Kate Middleton, Princess of Wales, was born on January 9, 1982 in Reading, Berkshire, England, and is the wife and princess consort of William, Prince of Wales, and heir apparent to the British throne. In 2022, Catherine became the Princess of Wales, a title previously held by her mother-in-law, the late Princess Diana. Similar to Diana, Catherine is known for her warmth and relatability. She typically ranks among the royal family's most popular members. Not surprisingly, she enjoys almost the same widespread acceptance and love as her mother-in-law. Catherine was not born royal, quite the contrary. She grew up in a normal family as the eldest of 3 children of Michael and Carol Middleton. Her siblings are Philippa, Pippa, and James. Her parents met while working as flight attendants at British Airways, and in 1987 they founded a mail-order business selling supplies for children's parties. The success of that venture, along with a family inheritance, allowed them to send Catherine to a prep school and then to the prestigious Marlborough College in Wiltshire, England. At Marlborough, Catherine, then called Kate Middleton, was known as a serious, level-headed student, excelling in both athletics. She captained the school field hockey team and academics. In 2001, after a gap year, Middleton enrolled at the University of St Andrews in Scotland. There, she studied art history while working part-time as a waitress. After graduating from St Andrews in 2005, she was briefly employed as an accessories buyer for a clothing retailer, and she later assumed various roles at her parents' company while performing a host of charity work. Catherine was prepared to build her career, but unexpectedly, life had more in store for her. While at St Andrews, Kate Middleton met Prince William, a fellow first-year art history student who was the second in line to the British throne, after his father, Charles. According to Catherine, the two were very close friends for about a year. In 2002, they and several others moved in together, and it was then that the relationship turned romantic. They maintained a low profile, and their relationship was not made public until they were photographed together vacationing in Switzerland in 2004. 3 years later, the couple broke up, and Middleton later said, "I, at the time, wasn't very happy about it, but actually it made me a stronger person." However, after just a few months, they reunited. Following several years of intense speculation from the British media about the couple's marriage plans, during which time Middleton was scrutinized by the tabloids and dubbed Waity Katie. It was announced in November 2010 that the two had become engaged. In preparation for entry into the royal family, Kate Middleton changed to the more formal name Catherine. The royal wedding took place on April 29, 2011, at Westminster Abbey in London. She was given the title Duchess of Cambridge. The couple's first son, Prince George Alexander Louis of Cambridge, was born on July 22, 2013, and their daughter, Princess Charlotte Elizabeth Diana of Cambridge, was born on May 2, 2015. Catherine gave birth to a second son, Prince Louis Arthur Charles of Cambridge, on April 23, 2018. By most accounts, Catherine easily transitioned to royal life, and she quickly became popular with the public. She is involved in numerous charities, especially those involving children. In 2021, she established the Center for Early Childhood, part of the Royal Foundation. Catherine also has supported efforts concerning mental health issues. After her introduction into royal life, Catherine began to shine, not just as a figure of grace, but as a passionate force for good. She didn't simply appear at events for the sake of tradition. She genuinely immersed herself in causes that mattered deeply to her. Her charity work became a defining part of her identity, proving she had found the perfect balance between royal duty and personal compassion. One of her most touching acts happened quietly in 2018. Without seeking any attention, Catherine donated 7 inches of her hair to the Little Princess Trust, a charity that creates wigs for children undergoing cancer treatment. She had been inspired by her hairdresser Joey Wheeler and had made the decision privately. Her action was a reminder that the most heartfelt acts of kindness are often the ones done away from the spotlight. It was a simple but powerful gesture, echoing the quiet generosity she'd shown for years. Many thought all of that was for the camera, But it wasn't, because long before Catherine married Prince William, Catherine was already deeply involved in charity work and making people's lives better. In 2017, Catherine Middleton organized a photography exhibition to raise funds for UNICEF and later hosted a charity roller disco that raised $100,000 for the Oxford Children's Hospital and mental health initiatives. In 2017, she joined forces with William and his brother, Prince Harry, to launch the Heads Together initiative, which seeks to raise awareness about mental health problems and ease the stigma associated with them. Catherine is also a noted amateur photographer, and she frequently posts family portraits online. All this, along with her charming and genuine personality, brought her the love and respect of the public, a thing that now threatened to change her life forever. As whispers of the Queen's letter reached beyond palace walls, the royal household found itself divided. Some believed the letter was a betrayal of tradition. Others saw it as a lifeline for the monarchy's future. Critics claimed Catherine was unprepared, more mother than monarch, but supporters pointed to her record, her work in mental health, her global appeal, and the way she carried herself with effortless sincerity. Public debate blew up. Was it right to ask William to step aside? Would this divide the family or unite it in a new way? Meanwhile, Catherine remained silent, unaware of the storm surrounding her. She continued visiting children's hospitals, comforting strangers, and raising her children with compassion and discipline. William watched the woman he loved become the center of a debate he never saw coming. It cut deeper than he expected. He had always known Catherine was remarkable, but now the world was seeing what the Queen had seen all along, and it left him questioning his own place. Yet when he looked at Catherine, he felt something else entirely: awe, gratitude, even peace. She hadn't taken his legacy. She had redefined it. Maybe this wasn't about being replaced. Maybe it was about building something stronger together. Maybe the crown didn't need to sit on his head to still be in his hand. What do you think of Princess Anne's decision to reveal the letter? Do you think William and Charles will let Catherine take over? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the following video shown on your screen. You will enjoy it.